Wales FM rejects Trump state banquet invite. Wales First Minister Eluned Morgan has turned down the King's invitation to a state banquet with Donald Trump at Windsor Castle. The U.S. president arrived in London on Tuesday night with First Lady Melania Trump for his second state visit. On Tuesday night, the Welsh government said Morgan wanted to support colleagues at an incredibly difficult time after the recent death of Caerphilly Snubbed member Hefin David. On Wednesday, a spokesperson said there was a private engagement tonight between the First Minister and MSs after Mr. David's death. Conservative Senate leader Darren Miller said it would be seen as a snub by the United States and was deeply regrettable. Miller told the Phone-In on BBC Radio Wales, "All of us have been affected by the terrible tragic death of our dear colleague Hefin David, and of course, my heart goes out with great sympathy to everybody in the Labour Party, including Labour MSs. But the First Minister has a Deputy First Minister, she also has other government ministers, and Wales should be represented," he said. "It will be deemed to be a snub by the United States there's no Welsh government representative at this very important event. That, I think, is deeply, deeply regrettable." Welsh government analysis suggests the U.S. is Wales's second most valuable trading partner by country, though the EU is bigger overall. In May, Morgan warned Wales could be hit harder than England by U.S. tariffs, given its heavier reliance on goods exports. Talks on scrapping tariffs on UK steel are on hold, with U.S. officials raising concerns over Tata's shift from blast furnaces to new electric arc furnaces, due in 2027. Morgan congratulated Trump on his re-election last year, calling the U.S.-Wales relationship highly valued, though in 2017 she had described him as off-the-scale crazy in a BBC Wales interview. On Tuesday night, the Welsh government said Morgan wrote to the King to thank him for his gracious invite, but feels her place is here with colleagues as she continues to support them during this incredibly difficult time. At Wednesday lunchtime, a new statement from a Welsh government spokesperson said, "There is a private engagement tonight between the First Minister and MSs following the death of Hefin David. It is still unclear when the invitation to the banquet was received or when Wednesday night's engagement with Senedd members was arranged." Morgan is not the only high-profile party leader to turn down an invite to the banquet. In August, the Liberal Democrat leader Ed Davey said he was boycotting the event to send President Trump a message over the humanitarian crisis in Gaza. But Scottish First Minister John Swinney said he would attend the Windsor event. Plaid Cymru leaders Ron Ap Yorwerth and Liz Saville Roberts have criticized Starmer's decision to welcome Trump with full state honors, warning that his presence risks emboldening extremism at home and abroad. Lib Dems urge probe into Trump golf course lobbying claims. The Liberal Democrats have called for an investigation to be launched into whether the government lobbied for a golf course owned by Donald Trump to host the UK's most high-profile tournament. President Trump has owned Turnberry, a golf course in Ayrshire in southwest Scotland, since 2014, and has reportedly made requests for the venue to host the 2028 Open Championship. Earlier this year, several sources told BBC Sport that the UK government had asked the R&A, golf's governing body, about its position on the matter. Callum Miller, the Liberal Democrat foreign affairs spokesman, said that a new government ethics body, due to be launched next month, should investigate the matter. He told the party's annual conference in Bournemouth that it was shocking that ministers had appealed to the personal financial interests of an American president to curry favor. In April, the government said that it was up to the R&A to decide the hosts of the tournament after reports that President Trump had spoken to Sir Keir Starmer about the matter. Turnberry has hosted the Open Championship on 4 occasions, with the last time being in 2009. In July, the government announced that a new Ethics and Integrity Commission would be established to drive up standards in public life. Miller said ministers must show that this commission can truly protect our values from foreign corruption, and called on the government to refer its own lobbying over Turnberry as the first case for investigation. He accused Labour of being willing to do almost anything to appease Donald Trump. When the claims about Sir Keir and President Trump having discussed the tournament first surfaced, a spokesman for the Prime Minister didn't deny the conversations had taken place, but said any contact ministers had with sporting bodies was part of the business of government and not hosting decisions. They added, Obviously, the government is in regular contact with sporting bodies on tournaments in the usual way, but not beyond that. The government has said the new Ethics Commission would have an ambitious remit to uphold the highest ethical standards across the public sector. The government has been approached for comment. Trump's $100,000 H-1B visa shock. Why U.S. may lose more than India. Panic, confusion, and then a hasty White House climb down. It was a weekend of whiplash for hundreds of thousands of Indians on H-1B visas. On Friday, U.S. President Donald Trump stunned the tech world by announcing an up to 50-fold hike in the cost of skilled worker permits to $100,000. Chaos followed. Silicon Valley firms urged staff not to travel outside the country. Overseas workers scrambled for flights, and immigration lawyers worked overtime to decode the order. By Saturday, the White House sought to calm the storm, clarifying that the fee applied only to new applicants and was a one-off. Yet the long-standing H-1B program, criticized for undercutting American workers but praised for attracting global talent, still faces an uncertain future. Even with the tweak, the policy effectively shutters the H-1B pipeline that for 3 decades powered the American dream for millions of Indians and, more importantly, supplied the lifeblood of talent to U.S. industries. That pipeline reshaped both countries. For India, the H-1B became a vehicle of aspiration. Small-town coders turned dollar earners, families vaulted into the middle class, and entire industries, from airlines to real estate, catered to a new class of globe-trotting Indians. For the U.S., it meant an infusion of talent that filled labs, classrooms, hospitals, and startups. Today, Indian-origin executives run Google, Microsoft, and IBM, and Indian doctors make up nearly 6% of the U.S. physician workforce. Indians dominate the H-1B program, making up more than 70% of the recipients in recent years. China was the second largest source, making up about 12% of beneficiaries. In tech, their presence is even starker. A Freedom of Information Act request in 2015 showed over 80% of computer jobs went to Indian nationals. A share industry insiders say hasn't shifted much. The medical sector underlines the stakes. In 2023, more than 8,200 H-1Bs were approved to work in general medicine and surgical hospitals. India is the largest single source of international medical graduates, who are typically in U.S. on H-1B visas, and make up about 22% of all international doctors. With international doctors forming up to a quarter of U.S. physicians, Indian H-1B holders likely account for around 5 to 6% of the total. Experts say pay data shows why Trump's new $100,000 fee is unworkable. In 2023, the median salary for new H-1B employees was $94,000, compared with $129,000 for those already in the system. Since the fee targets new hires, most won't even earn enough to cover it, say experts. Since the latest White House directive indicates that the fee would only apply to new H-1B recipients, this is more likely to cause medium and long-term labor shortages instead of immediate disruption. Gil Guerra, an immigration policy analyst at the Niskanen Center, told the BBC, India may feel the shock first, but the ripple effects could run deeper in the U.S. Indian outsourcing giants such as TCS and Infosys have long prepared for this by building local workforces and shifting delivery offshore. The numbers tell the story. Indians still account for 70% of H-1B recipients, but only 3 of the top 10 H-1B employers had ties to India in 2023, down from 6 in 2016, according to Pew Research. To be sure, India's 283 billion IT sector faces a reckoning with its reliance on shuttling skilled workers to the U.S., which accounts for over half its revenue. H-1B visa row under Trump fuels anxiety for Indian dreamers. IT industry body, NASSCOM, believes the visa fee hike could disrupt business continuity for certain onshore projects. Clients are likely to push for repricing or delay projects until legal uncertainties are cleared, while companies may rethink staffing models, shifting work offshore, reducing onshore roles, and becoming far more selective in sponsorship decisions. Indian firms are also likely to pass on the increased visa costs to U.S. clients, says Aditya Narayan Mishra of CIL HR, a leading staffing firm. With employers reluctant to commit to the heavy cost of sponsorship, we could see greater reliance on remote contracting, offshore delivery, and gig workers. The broader impact on the U.S. could be severe. Hospitals facing doctor shortages, universities struggling to attract STEM students, and startups without the lobbying muscle of Google or Amazon are likely to be hit hardest. Upward visa fee hike will force U.S. companies to radically change their hiring policies and offshore a significant amount of their work. It will also ban founders and CEOs coming to manage U.S.-based businesses.